Today is very exciting because today is the day I'm premiering a new segment that I'm going to be doing every week on Thursday titled Retro Reviews. Since Thursday is Throwback Thursday for a lot of people, it's something that trends every week on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, what have you. Every Thursday I'm going to be reviewing an album that is a little bit older, just to kind of have some nostalgia and to give you guys an extra video in the midst of all the other reviews. So let's get into the inaugural Retro Reviews with something that is a bit of a throwback, especially for people my age, and that is the self-titled, the one and only full-length studio album from actor Mitchel Musso. If you remember the show Hannah Montana, which, how could you not, the show that launched Miley Cyrus into stardom back, when she was still adorable and cute and make-out worthy before she started looking like some sort of Gestapo. Anyway, this was the show that Mitchel Musso was on. He was a part of the cast and played one of Miley's best friends on the show, Oliver something, I don't remember the last name, but apparently he has an album, which I don't know how I would have missed this, being a huge Hannah Montana fan at the time this came out. Other artists under the Disney label that put out albums like Corbin Bleu, Ashley Tisdale, Miley Cyrus as Hannah Montana, Billy Ray Cyrus eventually doing an album with Disney as well, and so it's no surprise that Mitchel Musso did one as well. Found this at Goodwill for like $1 a couple months ago and decided, why not review this? I've never heard it. All over the album, handful, several, pretty much every track. Power pop and punk pop influenced bubblegum music. So many songs with this punk rocky influence, and to me what it feels like is Mitchel is really influenced by kind of pop punk and punk rock music, maybe bands like Blink-182, Fall Out Boy, a little bit of All Time Low, Green Day. He tried to put as much of that sound in this album as possible, but Disney reminded him, hey, we're still trying to make a pop album. We can't make anything too rocky, too hard. So let's put some of those elements in there, sure, but let's, for the most part, make it dancey and kind of teeny bopper. And the punk rock influences, they're not too cringe-worthy. The guitars sound nice on the opening track, Hey, and then a couple of the tracks following that one on the first half of the album. We also have a feature and some creative contribution from Mitchel's older brother, Mason Musso, who was a member in that god-awful synth-pop band Metro Station. For the most part, every song in this album is pretty upbeat. It's got that kind of punk rock feel to it a little bit with synths and heavy guitar, a lot of drums and cymbals on this thing. There are also a couple ballads on the album. There's a piano ballad later on in the back half of this thing that's just so-so. It's very bland. And then there's also a more stripped back and more synthetic sounding ballad that's track 3, a duet he did with a singer named Caitlin Traver, I believe. It's called Us Against the World. And while the beat of this song isn't necessarily horrible, it's got some pleasant chords, the concept of the song, there's like no lyrical depth at all to this thing. It's just a one-line chorus. There's some really yucky auto-tune being thrown on Caitlin's voice, and then Mitchel's, very breathy and just unpolished teen voice also covering the rest of the song. Just makes it just a failure of a love song duet. A couple other moments on this album, on songs like Welcome to Hollywood, Get Out, and Odd Man Out, where we have, as I referenced before, that punk rock feel. You have these drums on this track, but these drums are just so flat and they're not punchy at all, and they're softer than they should be, and sometimes a little bit off the beat. It almost sounds like a few of these songs were like the demo versions. And all the songs on this album have just lowest common denominator pop lyrics. They're not creative. They're just, some of these are just barely catchy, very unmemorable, very bland. It's like they rhyme, and that's about it. There's just a lot of one-line choruses on here, a lot of the same ideas hashed out over and over and over. And even on one of the songs where he references a girl being his fire, really her being his only desire. And I was just like, really, dude? Really? And these basic, boring, unengaging, bubblegum lyrics are delivered in Mitchel's nasally and vibrato-less voice. It doesn't help at all. This album comes to kind of an abrupt and awkward close. The song ends a little bit quicker than you think it would, without music, and Mitchell just holding out this one note and not really ending it as well as it should have been, kind of cracking just a little bit, being a little bit, awkward teenager singing voice. And you just go, oh, the album's over? But then you go, oh, thank God the album's over. Plus, the lyrics in the closing track just make the album, date itself, really. Talking about, he's hanging out with the Kings of Leon and watching himself on his own TV show. It's like, dude, aside from Disney just, being greedy and going, hey, we can cash in on him a little bit, it might be worth the investment, I feel like Mitchell was not really into this album. I don't feel like he has enough of a voice to carry out a whole album on his own. I think, Mitchell, you're a decent actor, but whenever you see a microphone, you need to just go in the opposite direction of it. There was just really going through the motions on this album. I did a little research on it and learned that it sold over 100,000 copies and debuted at like 25 on the Hot 100 Billboard chart, and I am not even sure how that would have happened. Half of a star out of a possible 5 stars. Mitchell, this was just, buddy, I don't know what you were thinking. I don't know if this was part of your contract that you had to do, but this is just a sucky pop album. Any suggestions for retro reviews, let me know. Hope you enjoyed this one. It's going to be a regular thing from now on, guys, just to, get you through the week, make your week a little bit easier. Man, I'm sorry, I'm just not over how bad this album was. Oh my goodness.